Hello. We've a few days before the elections, and I suppose I just wanted to say a couple of things on it. Like, one is, don't expect a clean sweep. It's probably not going to happen. I wouldn't imagine it's going to happen. There's still a lot of darkness, I think, that needs to come before people plug their life into this. Okay, so instead of it just being something I disagree with, like, this is something I'm actively fighting against. Okay, so I think and again, we don't know what happens in the meantime, but barring a major catastrophe, I don't see a clean sweep. But that doesn't matter. Like, if all we need is to get a few people in that are singing the right song, the moral song, the song of truth, okay? And those voices will be heard. Those voices will also have to be televised. This is the important thing. It will have to be televised, because RTE and the establishment as is, they can retain a sort of cohesive narrative at the moment because there's no one in the Dáil, bar a couple of people, Carol Nolan and Matty McGrath, etc. There's a handful of people that are piping up and speaking up, okay? But if we get an extra few people in there, those voices, those ideas, those thoughts, the sentiments around what's going on in Ireland, that will be televised. Bang. All of a sudden you have people that are only exposed to a few TV stations now listening to this stuff, and all of a sudden that's the green light for them to be okay with this now. Because if it's good enough for the Dáil, it's good enough for me. That might not be the way you operate, but that is the way a lot of people in Ireland operate, okay? So there's no point in shouting at people or getting bothered with people because they don't see it immediately the way you want to see it, because that's not how their mind works. Their mind works by being shown what is acceptable, and then this is okay, so it's okay with me. This has been shown to be okay, so it's okay with me. Unfortunately, that is the default setting of a lot of people in Ireland, okay? So if it's not a clean sweep, great if it is. If it's not, that's fine, okay? We continue on anyway, trundle along. The other thing, negate the nihilists. What I mean by nihilists is voting isn't going to do anything anyway, so what's the point? Okay, off you go. Don't bring the consequences of your indifference or your apathy or your lack of faith and hope around me, okay? You can have that, just go away from me. So don't give in to them, negate them. They're going to come out and say, oh, ha, 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 regardless of what the result is. If it's a clean sweep, it'll be, oh, well, that's because they're sponsored by British intelligence money and Russian stuff, all that. Which may be somewhat true in some degrees. But we don't know, okay? If it's a few people get in, they're going to say, oh, where was the big far-right rush and where was the big clean sweep that they said was going to happen, okay? Don't let that dampen your spirits, because they're going to pounce on whatever happens in a vicious and negative way, okay? Don't let their perspective bleed into yours, you know? We are moving in the right direction. We are moving upwards and outwards and deep into ourselves, okay? So we're moving, and it's people are getting brave. They're speaking honestly. That's a good thing. It's a good thing. Far more people are aware of what's going on than they were 6 months ago. That's a great thing, okay? There's different protests being set up around the place, okay? Lovely. All good stuff. So don't lose faith if it's not a clean sweep. Don't get despondent by the naysayers or the nihilists when they start saying, so what's the point in doing anything anyway? Or, ha ha ha, see, all that pomp and ceremony and you didn't even get any X, Y and Z in. Grant. We'll continue doing what we have to continue doing as individuals anyway, okay? And the last thing then is just on those, not even the nihilists, like, because they're kind of middle of the road people at this stage. It's nearly the general temperament of people. But the agitators, you know, the people that are paid to do this, the people that are paid to jump on your posts and just throw in a comment and then go away and block you, don't bother with them. Number one, they're there to radicalise you by posing such an extreme position that you naturally feel you have to disagree with it. And I've such a level of disagreement with this extreme vision that I end up being on the total opposite end of the spectrum, which is also an extreme version of the argument, okay? So if you're going to go there, make sure you're going there willingly. Don't let someone else and their radical views put you there, okay? So that's it in a nutshell. No, regardless of where you end up on the spectrum of views, make sure you're going there willingly. You're informed. You were able to debate both sides of an argument clean and effectively, okay? And then it is obvious that you're making a clean and informed decision on where your stance is. And I had another point on that, but it's absolutely gone out of my mind. Yeah, so look, I will leave it at that. A few days away from the vote, yeah, we know what we have here with the parties that are in the Dáil already, okay? Every one of them. You know what you're going to be getting. It's not good enough for them to be pumping this stuff for the last few years and then a couple of weeks beforehand go, you know what, I think there's a bit of human trafficking going on here. Not good enough. So what are you left with? You can either continue same, get the same, you know. What is the thing? If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got, kind of a thing. I think that's a Tony Robbins quote. Whatever. You know, it's fitting. But you can either, continue on same, or you can decide to vote for whoever, new parties, independents, whatever you want to call them. And it's a gamble. These people could be ultimately compromised. They could be absolutely fascist in their outlook as well, and be worse than what we have. But it's a gamble that we have to take. You don't have to. I'm not telling you which way to vote. I'm not doing any of that stuff. I'm saying if you are of the view that what's going on in Ireland at the moment needs to be dismantled, broken down and disintegrated and scattered to the winds of time, okay, then there's a gamble there, and I think the gamble is worth taking. With holding the same pressure, under no illusion do I believe that any of these people will get in, clean house, and bang, in 6 months' time we'll be back to 1995 Ireland. I don't believe that for a second, okay? We need to keep plugging away. We need to stay engaged, stay active, and stay switched on to things, because we need to hold these people to account as well, okay? It's as simple as that. So I think we've dark days ahead of us. I think we're already in dark days. I think this time will be looked back on and absolutely ridiculed and mocked the same way that all government-sponsored atrocities throughout the ages have been, and as we do, whilst declaring, I would never have done that. You're doing it. You've done it. So we've a chance to stop this thing, at least grind it to a halt for a while, okay? Get the voices on the television, get the voices speaking to the public. Now that they're an elected official, people look at them different, okay? It's just the nature of the beast that we're in here. It's frustrating, it's annoying, it angers me, it challenges my faith in people at times, but it doesn't break it, okay? So you have to believe that we're heading in the right direction, we're on the right path, okay? I think we've some dark and troubling days ahead of us, but I think there's no stopping the growing amount of people that are switching on and having conversations. I don't think there's any stopping that. So go for it, have a lovely day, and imagine the future that you'd like. Don't just spend your time in the present arguing about the present that you don't like. We need to imagine the world, the Ireland that we want in the future, because otherwise we don't know what we're going about doing creating it, because we can't imagine it. We don't know when it's done, we don't know when we're half there. So off you go. Good luck, thank you, and may the road come up to meet you and all that.